Hello everybody, welcome back to 366 Days of Hope. My name is Pearl and I'm here to share our next video, which is why is the devil your role model? So oftentimes I've noticed that a lot of people make excuses of why they do or believe a certain thing. And they'll cite examples of people that they see. So for example, I remember hearing an argument between some people like saying, well, I don't think it's that bad to have, multiple wives, like because, well, Abraham did it, he had Sarah and then he had Hagar. And Hagar was not the chosen one that God had wanted. Hagar's child was not the child of promise. And even it was stated throughout that it was, Sarah's child that was going to be the child of promise. And all throughout, we see people making excuses by using like bad examples, like, oh, well, look at what David did. He committed adultery, and yet God still called him, his friend. But people forget that David, the moment he repented of his sins, it said that he put away all of his wives and he did not know them afterwards. The only last person he ended up having a intimacy with afterwards was Bathsheba, and the first child died, and then he obviously slept with her again because they had Solomon. But after that, he repented and put everyone away. So therefore, to look at these things that happen in scripture and saying, well, these were our examples that we're gonna use, I think is really bad. And I remember this really powerful statement that this pastor had said when an 80-year-old woman had approached him and said, hey, you know what, I follow you on Instagram. And he was flattered and was like, oh really, like you follow me on Instagram, that's pretty cool. And she asked him, she says, why are you always so busy? And he said, well, the devil is working all the time and he never rests. So why should I? I should be working just as hard. And she said, why are you following the devil's example, basically? But I think her phrase was, why are you using the devil as your role model? And then she said, Jesus rested. And that just really punched so hard at me at that concept, because we kind of get into this idea of also working super hard, chasing the next thing, trying to do XYZ for accomplishments or accolades, or maybe we're doing those things because we feel like we need to do something for God. Definitely have been guilty of that at some point in my life, and trying really hard to rest in God. And I think it's so important that we do rest. I think that there is so many people who serve the church that are burning out because it's that 80-20 principle. I think we need to even that out. We cannot have 80% of the people just sitting in the pews, warming it up, while 20% are serving. And some of those people in that 20% are serving probably from obligation and feeling the sense of duty. Some of them doing it because they absolutely love the Lord and have a passion to want to serve God. And then there's probably another fraction of that where they are serving because they feel like they need to do a lot of things. I've been in that realm of mindset where I feel like I need to pick up the slack because there's not other people who's picking it up. And that's not a good mentality to have when you're serving God. You need to serve God because you want to, and that there isn't a pressure or an imaginary pressure that you need to perform. Oftentimes I feel like that comes from maybe an upbringing that says you need to be constantly producing. You need to constantly be doing. And that's a very unhealthy mindset. So I hope that you guys find your rest and realize, and I'm really speaking for myself too. I think it's a great reminder. I often feel like pastors, give sermons, and they've said this before. It's like they give sermons not because they're just wanting to just speak and point out other people's wrong, but sometimes those sermons are really for them. And sometimes me just sharing and being vulnerable about the things that I'm learning and growing in, it's really not just for you guys, it's for me. It's like me growing in the areas that I realize, you know, maybe I do need to take that time to rest. Maybe I do need to not overcommit to 1,000 different projects around me and just be like, you know, I need to take time and make sure I am spending the time that I need with God, so I can rejuvenate myself, refill my cup so I can pour into others. My prayer is that you guys keep growing in your walk with God. So with that said, may you live, thrive, and be healthy. Take care. Bye.